Hi, everybody. Janet Harley, your host for Faith in an Ever Changing World Encouragement and Hope. And it is my pleasure to have with me Debra Moore. Hi, Deborah, and thank you for joining me today.
Hi, Janet. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, Deborah is just so many things. The Lord has her so busy. She is a mental health advocate, a faith based film actress, and screenwriter and public speaker. Wow, you stay busy. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But thank you again for joining me, and thank you all. Uh, right after our brief intro, we will be back to talk with Debra Moore. Stay with us. And we're back. Deborah, if you will, in this season, tell us what God has given you to do and how is faith helping you do it?
Well, I just want to thank you so much for having me today, Janet.
Oh, you're
And the
welcome.
name of your show, Faith in an Ever Changing World, is just so apropos for our
Mhm.
today's world that we
Yes.
live in. It is an ever changing
Mhm.
world,
Yes.
and it's really hard to keep up, actually.
Yes.
Uh, but I think that, like we were talking about before, the Lord really wants us to try.
Mm,
And when we have a testimony, when we have something that I am just so proud of the Lord for what He's done for me, for what He's
yeah.
done for my family,
Mm,
and we need to tell somebody.
yeah.
We need to have our testimony told.
Yes.
If it can help someone, if it can be a hope to someone, that's where my story is. I started out in Mobile, Alabama.
Mm,
I know you're in North Carolina, and that's a
yes.
southern type place too.
That's right.
In Alabama, everyone was
Mm,
very traditional, and
mm,
basically, my family. My father was in the Air Force, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom and traveled. So we were in Florida, we were in Alabama, we were in Alaska, we were in California, and
wow.
things became hard for her as a young mother. She had me, she had my brother, and then she had a miscarriage.
Mm,
And then the postpartum depression that hit her, she didn't know how to handle. My father didn't know how to handle.
no.
Uh, and it resulted in some psychosis.
Mm,
And basically, that psychosis wasn't treated, it wasn't noticed. On the outside, she looked fine.
mhm.
And then she decides that as a Christian, the best place for her and her children to be would be heaven. And so my father was always traveling, he was always working out of town, and she was there alone with the children.
Mhm.
And so basically, she prepared. She went to the hardware store. She purchased a gun.
Wow.
She made plans. She made preparation. She had a
Mm,
plan. She even talked with me about it as a 7-year-old girl and said, "Okay, Deborah, or would you like to go to heaven?" And as a 7-year-old girl, I was thinking, "Sure, I want to go to heaven. I've been to Sunday school. It sounds like a great place." But
oh
I
my
really didn't
goodness.
understand what she was talking about, and
Sure.
how could I, right? And so
Mm,
basically, I said, if I can take my dolls, sure, I'll go to heaven. And so it was planned. We were all going to go to heaven.
mm,
And unfortunately, her mental health had deteriorated. She had a terrible postpartum again that turned into psychosis, that turned into basically paranoid schizophrenia.
wow.
And
Mm, mm, mm.
she laid my brother and I down on a bed and shot us both in the back 3 times and shot herself 3 times.
Oh my.
And I believe that there was a supernatural intervention. I believe that the angels were there. I believe that God was all over it. I believe he
Mm.
redirected the bullets just nano millimeters,
Yes. Yes.
and no one died. We
Mm.
all survived. And basically, this is my story for the people in our lives who are dealing with serious mental illness with their family.
Mhm.
If God can bring restoration and reconciliation and forgiveness to me and my
Mm.
family, He can definitely bring it to you. because
Absolutely.
because I
Yeah.
went through this experience with my mother, of course. Right after that, she went into a mental health facility, of course. My brother and I went to live with our maternal grandmother, who was struggling with a lot of mental health issues herself,
Mm.
and undiagnosed, untreated. And so the home life was really terrible. And
Right.
so basically what happened is, we would be sent off to orphanages, we would be marginalized, and all of this was something that I needed Jesus for.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
most people, they cringe when you say orphanage, but for me, it was wonderful.
Mm.
I got to have friends there. We went to church, it was
Mm.
Church of Christ orphanage, and I went to church one Sunday, Janet, and I walked that aisle and I accepted Jesus into my heart as my Savior as a little 8-year-old
Oh.
girl. And
Oh.
I believe that Jesus died for my sin. I believe that Jesus could be my mother and could be my father and that could help me.
Mhm.
And he came into my heart to live, and I changed. I had hope. I had
Mhm.
something, stable, some
Yes.
stability.
Yes.
And then fast forward to moving to Dallas, Texas, getting married, having babies, having a family, starting a family. And I had basically turned my back on anything mental health related. I was not interested in that. I
Mm.
had felt like I did my time with that.
You lived through it. Yes.
Survived it.
Yeah.
And,
Mhm.
I did a lot of work. I went to women's Bible study. I went to church. I read the
Mhm.
Bible. I sought the Lord. I sought the authority of the Bible over myself and over my family. And God really showed up in a big way. And then one of my children started exhibiting signs of mental health issues.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, no, God, no, I've already done this. I'm not going back to this.
Not again.
Forget it, forget it.
Yeah.
He said, oh, you are going to do it, and I'm going to help you.
Mm.
And so I went to a lady at my church, and we had a mental health ministry at my church. Isn't that something that God would do?
Yes.
We had a mental health ministry at my church, and I went to her and
Oh.
I told her what was going on, that there was erratic behavior, that there were behavioral issues. I didn't know what I was looking at, but I was afraid of what I was looking at, as most parents are when they run into this type of thing. And she said, well, you're dealing with the mental health behavior. We have a class for that. It's called a NAMI, NAMI, National Alliance of Mental
Mhm.
Illness.org, family to family class.
Mm.
She began to explain to me everything they talked about in the class. And then I went home to my husband and said, these people know exactly what is happening in our personal home. How is that?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
know what to do and they know how to help us. And so we did go to the class. We both went to the class. We got help. My loved one that had a mental health issue, we didn't know what to do before the class. And then after the 12-week class, we were able to speak with them. We were able to communicate with them better. We were able to empathize with them. We were able to give them help. We were able to tailor our responses towards this person that
Mm.
they were, not the person we thought they were, not the person
Yeah.
we thought they should be, but the
Yeah.
person they were
Mhm.
presently.
Yes.
And it was an amazing outcome.
Mm.
My loved one went into mental illness recovery and was able to finish school, was able to get a job, was able to buy a condo, buy a car, get
Isn't it
a license.
wonderful?
And
Woo.
right now she's living in mental health recovery.
How about that?
It's a
That
miracle.
is wonderful.
It's a
Yes, what a
miracle of God.
blessing.
Miracle
What
of
a
God.
blessing.
It is.
Absolutely.
And so if
Oh,
anybody is struggling with mental health issues,
hmm,
get educated. There's so much out there. Pray and
yeah,
ask the Lord to send you. You know what I mean?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Deborah, thank you so very much. And for that. And I want to put up your information here. Now, you can connect with Deborah on Facebook. So please, if you, and of course, if they want information for on mental health, I'm sure Deborah will be happy to help you get connected to the
Absolutely.
right people. Yes, yes. Oh, what a blessing you are to so many in this area. And thank you for opening your heart and for telling your story and what God has you doing, of course, and you move on faith every day,
Yes.
uh, being able to speak to people about it and being able to be a blessing to families. So thank you for sharing that, and I want to have you back again, Deborah, because we didn't get to into your acting and screenwriting. So interested in that. So we
Well, and
will.
I would love to come back and talk about that because
Yes.
I have written a biopic of my life, and it is about the forgiveness and restoration of Jesus Christ. And I have forgiven my mother, and I have forgiven my father, and I have forgiven all my family members, and I live in a state of complete forgiveness thanks to Jesus Christ.
That is wonderful. How free is that? Yes,
Amazing.
freedom, absolutely. Thank you, Deborah, again, and thank you all for watching. And also, I want to thank Creative Motion Network and Abundant Television Network. Have faith and look up, friends, where our help comes from. Bye. God bless.